thousands of people voted for you precisely because of those kinds of principles that you hold. In actual fact, what happened, your shadow cabinet didn't follow you, you had to follow them.
Some people are more difficult to persuade than others, and I'm looking forward to them being persuaded over the next 24 hours when they think through the claims made by David Cameron that these airstrikes are going to be precision and won't result in civilian casualties. There are ordinary people living in Raqqa, just like you and me, who don't want to be bombed. There are refugees that have come out of Raqqa who say, please don't bomb. There are also question marks, more than question marks, about the Prime Minister's claim that there's an army of 75,000 people ready to join in support of these strikes. That argument seems to be unravelling as the hours go by.
But if you were Prime Minister, would you allow your Foreign Secretary to take the opposite view to you publicly?
Well, sadly we're not the government, and...
But if you were in government, would you allow that?
If we were in government, we would be supporting a political solution in Syria, not a war.
Would you allow people to take such different public opinions?
Listen, I wanted there to be an open democracy and an open democratic debate within the party. That I've allowed. I realise there are risks to do with this, and I realise it's very difficult for many of the media to understand that MPs...
This is not about the media, this is about your MPs who say this hasn't been democracy, this has been chaos.
No, you're concerned with process, I'm concerned with the question of war and peace. I hope to convince MPs.
In what circumstances would you back Western military action?
Well, it's a hypothetical question. I do not think it's correct tomorrow to do that, and I will say so. Does it make me a pacifist? No. What it means is there has to be a political solution to every conflict. And this war is no different.
Forgive me, Jeremy Corbyn, this is not a hypothetical situation. 130 people were killed in Paris. Within 48 hours, British jets might be in the skies dropping bombs on another country. In what circumstances would you, as a Prime Minister, back military action, Western military action?
Does it make Paris or Brussels or London or Beirut anywhere safer if we bomb Raqqa and kill civilians? Does it mean the end of ISIL, or does it mean, sadly, maybe even more people will join what is an appalling organisation? No, there has to be a political process and a political direction.
Would you, if you were Prime Minister, call on America and France to stop their bombing in Syria, which is already happening?
I would ask them to put their efforts into a peace process, ask them to put their efforts into a peace process that will help to bring that about. But I'd also say this, that ISIL hasn't come from nowhere. ISIL isn't funded by nobody. ISIL doesn't sell its oil to nobody. ISIL doesn't receive its arms from nowhere. You've got to ask some questions about the arms sales we've made to many countries all around the Gulf. And we've got to ask some questions of the bankers and banking system that allows that oil money to go in and out.
But people would say those questions are being asked.
Well, they're not being answered.
But to be clear on that point, you would ask America and France to look again at bombing Syria.
I would ask them to join in looking for the way in which we can achieve a political solution to the Syrian civil war as the best way forward of solving that problem.
Which they are arguing that they're already doing very hard. But to be completely clear, you are saying America and France should look again at whether or not they should be bombing Syria.
I think they should join in the Vienna process, which, to be fair, they are part of, but they should also ask some questions about the neighbouring countries, particularly Turkey and its relationship, and particularly the issue of oil sales, which the Russians have started complaining about this morning, on the question of Turkey. These are actually not simple issues. Bombing Raqqa, bombing what is, after all, a kind of irregular force of ISIL across a very large area of open space, isn't necessarily going to solve the problem.